I paid for my sister Charlotte's wedding, every cent of it, but I wasn't invited. She said I didn't fit the vibe. I'm Grace, 35, a Charleston art teacher who thought pouring my heart into that check would finally earn me a place in my family's spotlight. Instead, I stood outside the glow, clutching a guest list with no trace of my name. My sister, the radiant influencer, and my parents, who always saw her as their pride, dismissed me with a laugh. "Grace, you're just not dazzling enough," Charlotte said, her words slicing deeper than I'd admit. Mom, who I call respectfully despite everything, looked away, her silence louder than any insult. Dad nodded, as if my absence was just practical. I've spent years fading into their background, the dull daughter who never shone like Charlotte. But that night, staring at the wedding invite I wasn't meant to see, something broke inside me. Why would they shut me out after I gave so much? What secret were they hiding behind their polished smiles? I felt a spark of defiance, a need to uncover the truth they thought I'd never question. My hands trembled as I drove home under Charleston's starry sky, knowing I was about to unravel the lie that kept me invisible. Charleston's Spoleto Festival painted the town in vibrant hues, but my family's home felt like a gray void where I was always the outsider. Teaching art at the local elementary school filled my days with color. Kids splashing paint, their laughter a balm to my unseen wounds. Yet, every evening, returning to my small apartment, the sting of Charlotte's words lingered. Mom, whom I always addressed with respect, had planned every detail of the wedding I funded. Her excitement reserved for Charlotte's Instagram perfect life. Dad, steady and distant, approved with a nod, as if my sacrifice was expected. Their dismissal wasn't new. Growing up, my sketches were cute, while Charlotte's dance recitals were extraordinary. Still, writing that check felt like a tether to their approval, a desperate bid to belong. Memories of childhood flickered, Mom adjusting Charlotte's dress for a pageant while I sat unnoticed, clutching a half-finished drawing. At 12, I overheard Dad whisper to Mom that Charlotte was their saving grace after some hushed family scandal. Those words, cryptic then, now nodded at me. Why was Charlotte their sun and I their shadow? Doubts crept in, fueled by their refusal to explain my exclusion. The wedding guest list, pristine and cruel, lay on my coffee table, a silent accusation. At school, my students' joy couldn't drown the ache. Their hugs reminded me of the warmth my family withheld. Caleb, my colleague and closest confidant, noticed the shift in me. Over coffee at our favorite Charleston cafe, his warm eyes met mine. "You're carrying something heavy," he said softly, his voice a lifeline. Sharing the humiliation of being uninvited, tears welled up, but his hand on mine steadied me. He didn't push. Instead, he shared stories of his own family's expectations, forging a quiet bond. His belief in my worth sparked something, a resolve to stop pleading for love I'd never earn. That night, poring over old family photos, a locked drawer in Mom's study came to mind, one she guarded fiercely. The Spoleto Festival's music drifted through my window, a reminder of Charleston's vibrant heart. Community mattered here. Neighbors rallied for each other, unlike my family's closed circle. At school, a parent stopped me, praising how my art classes inspired her shy daughter. Her gratitude contrasted starkly with Mom's indifference, fueling a growing defiance. Why did I let their judgment define me? Yet the question of their secrecy loomed larger. Charlotte's smug dismissal at our last meeting, her eyes darting nervously, hinted at more than sibling rivalry. Was there a truth they feared I'd uncover? Driven by instinct, a plan formed to visit Mom's house while they were at a wedding rehearsal. Heart pounding, slipping into the familiar study felt like trespassing. The locked drawer resisted, but a spare key hidden under a vase yielded. Inside, a faded envelope caught my breath. Legal documents, yellowed with age. Fingers trembling, the words adoption and Charlotte leaped out. A revelation that froze time. Charlotte wasn't their biological daughter. The room spun, my family's foundation, built on lies, began to crack. This discovery wasn't just a secret, it was a betrayal woven into decades of favoritism. Why hide Charlotte's origins? And why exclude me now, after I'd given so much? The documents mentioned a name, Ellen, a relative I vaguely recalled Mom mentioning with sorrow. Was Charlotte her daughter? The questions multiplied, each one a thread in a tangled web. Caleb's words echoed, "You're worth more." Standing in that study, resolve hardened. This wasn't just about a wedding, it was about reclaiming my place. Leaving the house, Charleston's night air felt charged. The festival's distant cheers a call to action. The envelope, tucked safely in my bag, was a ticking bomb. Confronting Mom and Dad would shatter their carefully curated world, but silence was no longer an option. As I drove past the glowing lights, a sharper fear gripped me, not of their anger, but of something they'd hidden deeper. A cryptic note slipped from the envelope, landing on my lap. In Mom's handwriting, it read, "Keep her safe from the past." Whose past? And what danger was she guarding? The weight of that adoption document burned in my bag as Charleston's morning light filtered through my classroom windows. Teaching my students to blend colors offered fleeting distraction, but the revelation about Charlotte churned beneath the surface. Mom and Dad, whom I still address with the respect ingrained in me, had built our family on a lie. Why had they hidden Charlotte's origins, and how did it connect to my exclusion from her wedding? Determined to confront them, a knot of dread tightened in my chest. Driving to their house, the Spoleto Festival's banners fluttered, a stark contrast to the storm brewing within. Stepping into their pristine living room, Charlotte was there, radiant in a silk robe, scrolling through her phone. "What now?" she snapped, barely glancing up. Heart pounding, the question spilled out. Why wasn't I invited after everything I did? Mom, arranging flowers nearby, stiffened but stayed silent. Dad, reading the paper, muttered, "Don't make a scene." Their dismissal stung, but Charlotte's smirk cut deeper. "You're not exactly wedding guest material," she said, her tone dripping with disdain. Pressing further, asking why they shut me out, only drew Mom's sharp rebuke. "Enough, you're embarrassing yourself." Their united front felt like a wall I'd never breach. Leaving their house, humiliation churned into resolve. At school, grading artwork, a memory surfaced. Years ago, Charlotte had borrowed my portfolio for a school project, only for my best pieces to vanish. Had she sabotaged me even then? Digging through old emails on my laptop, a chilling discovery emerged. An anonymous complaint to the school board, sent from a temporary account, had derailed my chance at becoming vice principal 2 years prior. The phrasing echoed Charlotte's snide tone. Betrayal sank in. She hadn't just excluded me from her wedding, she'd systematically dimmed my light. Caleb caught me at lunch, his steady presence a lifeline. Over sandwiches in the teacher's lounge, sharing my suspicions about Charlotte's sabotage felt like unburdening a secret. His jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. "She's scared of you shining." His belief in me sparked a flicker of courage. Together, we searched school records, finding a trace of the complaint's IP address linked to a cafe Charlotte frequented. The evidence wasn't airtight, but it was enough to fuel my determination. Caleb's hand brushed mine, a quiet promise of support that warmed my fraying edges. Back home, the adoption papers lay spread across my table, each word a puzzle piece. Why had Mom and Dad protected Charlotte so fiercely? A childhood moment flashed. Mom clutching Charlotte during a storm, whispering, "You're our miracle." At the time, it felt like love. Now, it hinted at desperation. Was Charlotte's adoption tied to some family shame they feared I'd expose? The note about the past haunted me. Ellen, the relative mentioned in the documents, had vanished from family stories. Why? The deeper I dug, the more I sensed a truth that could unravel everything. Charleston's evening buzzed with festival energy, but my mind raced with questions. Confronting Charlotte again seemed futile. She'd only deflect. Instead, a plan took shape to search Mom's study for more clues. The risk of being caught loomed, but so did the cost of staying silent. Caleb offered to join me, his loyalty a steady anchor. As we planned, a text from Mom lit up my phone, her tone unusually soft. "Come to dinner tomorrow. We need to talk." My pulse quickened. Was this a chance for answers or a trap to silence my questions? Her invitation, paired with a faint tremble in her words, felt like a crack in their facade, hiding something I wasn't meant to see. Mom's text lingered like a shadow as Charleston's dawn broke. The Spoleto Festival's vibrancy a distant hum against my restless thoughts. Her invitation to dinner felt like a lure, but the adoption papers and Charlotte's sabotage fueled a need for truth. Teaching my students that morning, their bold brushstrokes couldn't quiet the storm within. Had Mom sensed my probing? Respect for her, ingrained despite her coldness, warred with suspicion. Dad's silence at our last meeting gnawed at me. His usual stoicism now seemed like a shield. Determined to uncover more before facing them, a plan to revisit their study solidified, the locked drawer's secrets calling. At school, Caleb met me in the art room, his calm presence grounding. Sharing the text from Mom, his brow furrowed. "Be careful," he cautioned, offering to stand watch while I searched. Our friendship, woven through years of shared lunches and quiet talks, felt like a lifeline. He recounted a story of his own family's hidden grudges, his empathy sparking warmth in my chest. As we plotted, a parent volunteer interrupted, praising my latest art project for inspiring her son. Her words, a stark contrast to my family's disdain, steeled my resolve. Charleston's community valued me. Why couldn't my family? Slipping into Mom and Dad's house that afternoon while they were at a wedding vendor meeting felt like crossing a forbidden line. The study's familiar scent, old books, and lavender clashed with my racing pulse. Prying open the drawer again, a hidden folder revealed more. Letters between Mom and Ellen, Charlotte's biological mother, dated before her disappearance. One line chilled me. "If the truth about the scandal comes out, we lose everything." What scandal? Had Ellen's absence been forced? The adoption wasn't just a secret. It was a cover for something darker, tied to the family's pristine reputation. Driving back, the festival's music pulsed through Charleston streets, but my mind spun. Ellen's name echoed in fragmented memories. Mom's hushed tears at her mention, Dad's abrupt subject changes. Had they erased her to protect Charlotte's place? The thought of confronting them at dinner loomed, but Charlotte's sabotage added another layer. Digging deeper, a quick search on my laptop uncovered an old article about a financial dispute involving Dad's business, hushed up decades ago. Was this the scandal? Had Ellen known too much? My fingers trembled, piecing together a betrayal deeper than I'd imagined. Caleb joined me at a quiet cafe, his steady gaze easing my turmoil. Showing him the letters, his jaw tightened. "This isn't just about Charlotte," he said. pointing to a vague reference to debts repaid. His suggestion to cross-check public records sparked hope, but also fear. What if the truth implicated Mom and Dad beyond repair? His hand grazed mine, a fleeting comfort that stirred something deeper, a connection I wasn't ready to name. Charleston's warmth, its cobblestone charm, felt like an embrace, urging me to keep going. That evening, preparing for dinner, the weight of Ellen's letters pressed against my resolve. Mom's invitation hinted at a reckoning, but their history of deflection made trust impossible. Charlotte's smugness, her calculated moves to dim my career, suggested she knew more than she let on. Had she been groomed to guard this secret? The festival's lights twinkled outside, a reminder of the community waiting beyond my family's walls. Slipping the letters into my purse, resolve hardened. Tonight, I'd demand answers, no matter the cost. At the restaurant, Mom and Dad sat stiffly, Charlotte absent, her rehearsal cited as an excuse. Mom's eyes, usually sharp, flickered with unease. "We need to set things right," she began, her voice unsteady. Dad's hand gripped his glass, a rare tremor betraying him. Their sudden openness felt staged, a trap to gauge what I knew. As Mom reached for my hand, a folded note slipped from her purse, unnoticed by her, but not by me. Scrawled in haste, it read, "Ellen's return must stay buried." My heart stopped. Ellen was alive, and if so, what danger was I walking into by sitting here? The note about Ellen's return trembled in my hand as the restaurant's dim lights cast shadows over Mom's uneasy face. Charleston's festival buzz faded, replaced by a pulse of dread. Had Mom and Dad known Ellen was alive all along? Respect for them, a reflex despite their deceit, clashed with the betrayal unfolding. The dinner's false warmth, Mom's forced smile, Dad's guarded glances, felt like a stage play to keep me silent. Slipping the note into my pocket, a memory surged. At 10, overhearing Mom sob, "Ellen can't come back," while clutching Charlotte. That grief, once puzzling, now hinted at a truth they'd buried to protect their miracle daughter. Leaving the restaurant, heart racing, the need for answers burned brighter. Caleb met me at my apartment, his steady presence a refuge. Showing him the note, his eyes widened. "This changes everything," he murmured, suggesting we trace Ellen's last known whereabouts. His belief in my courage, paired with a gentle touch, stirred a warmth I pushed aside to focus. Digging through online archives, a faded obituary caught my breath, Ellen's, dated a year after Charlotte's adoption, but suspiciously vague. Had it been faked? The possibility that my family orchestrated her erasure to secure Charlotte's inheritance sent chills through me. Reflecting on Charlotte's sabotage, her calculated moves to dim my career took on new weight. Had she known about Ellen? A flashback to our teens surfaced. Charlotte, overhearing Mom's hushed call about Ellen's mistake, had smirked at me, as if guarding a secret. Her cruelty wasn't just jealousy, it was a shield for the family's lie. The adoption papers, Ellen's letters, and now this note wove a tapestry of deception. Mom and Dad's favoritism wasn't mere preference. It was a desperate bid to anchor Charlotte, their fabricated heir, against a past they feared. Charleston's cobblestone streets, alive with festival goers, felt like a world apart as I walked to clear my mind. The community's warmth, neighbors waving, a student's parent thanking me for inspiring her child, contrasted with my family's coldness. Yet the scandal tied to Dad's business, hinted at in Ellen's letters, loomed. A quick library search revealed more. A financial fraud case, quietly settled, had nearly ruined Dad's reputation before Charlotte's adoption. Had Ellen been a whistleblower, silenced to save face? The thought that my family's wealth, their perfect image, rested on her banishment twisted my stomach. Caleb's call interrupted my spiraling thoughts. He'd found a contact, an old friend of Ellen's, now living nearby, who might talk. Meeting her at a quiet park, her hesitant words unveiled a bombshell. Ellen had been pregnant, forced to give up Charlotte after threatening to expose Dad's fraud. Mom and Dad adopted Charlotte to keep Ellen quiet, staging her death to erase her. Truth hit like a wave. My exclusion from the wedding wasn't just about Charlotte's ego. It was to stop me from uncovering Ellen's survival, a secret that could dismantle their legacy. Standing by the park's fountain, festival music drifting, resolve hardened. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about justice for Ellen, a woman erased like I'd been. Caleb's voice, soft but firm, broke through. You're stronger than their lies. His faith, and the spark in his eyes, hinted at a bond deepening beyond friendship. But the fight ahead demanded focus. The wedding was days away, and confronting my family meant risking everything. Yet silence was no longer an option. As dusk settled, a text from an unknown number flashed on my phone. "Stop digging, or you'll regret it." The words, cold and anonymous, sent a shiver down my spine. Was it Charlotte, guarding her throne? Or someone else, tied to Ellen's past, watching me? The festival's lights flickered in the distance, but the path forward darkened, a single question echoing. Who else knew Ellen was alive? And what were they willing to do to keep her hidden? Charleston's Spoleto Festival pulsed with life, its vibrant lights a stark contrast to the dread coiling in my chest as the anonymous text's warning echoed. The wedding loomed tomorrow, and Ellen's hidden truth, her forced exile to protect Mom and Dad's legacy, demanded action. Respect for my parents, a reflex despite their lies, wavered against the need to expose their deception. Teaching my students that morning, their innocent sketches of festival scenes couldn't quell the fire within. Tonight, at the wedding I'd funded but wasn't invited to, the time for silence ended. Caleb met me at school, his steady gaze a lifeline. Handing him a USB drive with a video I'd prepared, clips of my students praising my impact, paired with scanned adoption papers, he nodded. "This will shake them," he said, his voice a mix of pride and caution. His hand lingered on mine, silent promise that stirred warmth I couldn't yet name. Planning our move, we agreed. I'd infiltrate the reception, using the festival's chaos as cover. Charleston's community, from parents to local artists, had rallied behind my art classes. Their support emboldened me to face my family's polished facade. Dressed in a simple but elegant gown, slipping into the grand venue felt like crossing a battlefield. The ballroom sparkled, guests in glittering attire unaware of the storm brewing. Charlotte, radiant in her white dress, laughed with influencers, her vibe a curated lie. Mom, adjusting a centerpiece, caught my presence. Her eyes widened, a flicker of fear betraying her composure. Dad, chatting with a guest, froze when I stepped forward. Heart pounding, the weight of Ellen's erasure and Charlotte's sabotage fueled my resolve. This wasn't just my fight. It was for every truth they'd buried. Seizing the microphone from the band, my voice cut through the music. I began, trembling but clear, but I was told I didn't belong. Gasps rippled as I signaled Caleb, who projected the video onto a screen. My students' voices filled the room, calling me their hero, followed by the adoption papers, stark and undeniable. "Charlotte isn't their biological daughter," I declared. "They hid her mother, Ellen to protect a fraud and their wealth. The crowd hushed, eyes darting to my family. Charlotte's face drained of color, her crown slipping. Mom stepped forward, voice shaking. "You don't understand," she pleaded, but the guests' murmurs drowned her. Dad's hand gripped her arm, his silence louder than ever. Charlotte lunged for the projector, screaming, "She's lying!" But the evidence held firm. The room turned, whispers of betrayal spreading like wildfire. A festival organizer, a friend of my students' parents, nodded at me, her support a quiet roar. Charleston's heart, its community, stood with me, their judgment falling on my family's crumbling empire. Stepping off the stage, tears stung my eyes, not of defeat, but of release. Caleb caught me at the edge of the crowd, his embrace a haven. "You were incredible," he whispered, his breath warm against my cheek. The connection between us, unspoken but electric, hinted at a future beyond this chaos. Yet Mom's desperate plea lingered, a crack in her armor. Had she acted out of love for Charlotte or fear of exposure? The question gnawed, but the public's gaze, shocked, riveted, affirmed my voice had been heard. As I moved toward the exit, Charlotte's maid of honor, a stranger to me, slipped a folded paper into my hand. Her eyes, nervous but urgent, darted to the crowd. Unfolding it outside, festival lights casting a glow, the words stopped my heart. Ellen, the ghost of my family, was in Charleston? My pulse raced. Ellen, the ghost of my family's past, was in Charleston? The note gave an address, a rundown motel nearby. Caleb's hand found mine, his resolve mirroring my own. But a chill swept through me. If Ellen was watching, what did she want? And who else was guarding her secret, ready to silence me before I reached her? Charleston's festival lights flickered beyond the motel's grimy windows, but the note's words, "Ellen's alive, here," pulsed like a heartbeat in my hands. The wedding's chaos, my public unveiling of Charlotte's adoption, had shattered my family's facade. Yet this new truth about Ellen demanded a final reckoning. Respect for Mom and Dad, frayed but habitual, clashed with the weight of their decades-long lie. Caleb's steady presence beside me, his fingers brushing mine as we approached the motel, anchored my resolve. Tonight, confronting my parents would either free me or break what little tied us. Knocking on Mom and Dad's door after leaving the venue, the air felt charged, festival music a distant echo. Mom's face, streaked with mascara, crumpled at my arrival. Dad's shoulders sagged, his usual stoicism gone. "Why hide Ellen?" My voice cracked, holding up the note. Mom's sob broke the silence. We had no choice. Her confession spilled. Ellen, pregnant with Charlotte, had uncovered Dad's financial fraud. To silence her, they paid her to vanish, adopting Charlotte to cement their perfect image after a scandal that nearly ruined them. My stomach twisted. Their love for Charlotte was a cage for Ellen's truth. Dad's voice, hoarse, added a layer. Ellen threatened to return, to take Charlotte back. They'd faked her death, fearing her claim to the family's wealth. Charlotte's sabotage of my career, they admitted, was her fear of losing that legacy. "We thought protecting her protected us all," Mom whispered, her eyes pleading. The betrayal stung, but their desperation, love twisted by fear, humanized them. Standing there, the child who'd craved their pride felt both rage and pity. Caleb's quiet nod urged me forward, his faith a spark in the darkness. Demanding the money I'd paid for the wedding, my tone was firm. "You owe me more than silence." Dad wrote a check, hands trembling, but the gesture felt hollow. Charlotte's absence gnawed. Where was she? She's at the hotel, furious, Mom said, avoiding my gaze. The note about Ellen suggested Charlotte might know more, her cruelty perhaps a shield for deeper secrets. Turning to leave, a decision crystallized. I'm done being your shadow. If you want forgiveness, earn it. Mom's choked gasp followed me out, but freedom, sharp and bittersweet, surged within. Caleb's arm around me as we walked through Charleston's festive streets felt like a promise. You rewrote your story tonight, he said, his eyes holding mine with a warmth that stirred my heart. The connection between us, once subtle, now bloomed, a hope I hadn't dared embrace. Festival goers swirled around us, their joy a reminder of the community that valued me. Parents, students, neighbors who cheered my art classes. Their support, unlike my family's conditional love, was a foundation I'd build upon. Yet Ellen's shadow loomed. Finding her was the next step. At my apartment, planning to visit the motel address, a photo slipped from the adoption papers. A young Ellen, smiling, holding a newborn Charlotte. Her resemblance to me in the curve of her jaw sent a jolt through me. Was I more tied to her than I'd known? The thought that Ellen might hold answers, not just about the past, but about my place in this fractured family, ignited urgency. Caleb volunteered to drive, his loyalty unwavering, but the risk of confronting a woman erased for decades weighed heavy. As we prepared to leave, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from an unknown number. Playing it, a woman's voice, soft but strained, filled the room. I saw you at the wedding. I'm Ellen. Meet me alone, or Charlotte pays the price. My breath caught. Caleb's eyes widened, mirroring my shock. Ellen's tone held not just pain, but a chilling edge. Was she seeking justice or revenge? The motel's address burned in my mind, but her demand to come alone clashed with the danger in her words. Festival fireworks burst outside, their brilliance mocking the shadowed choice before me. Trust a ghost from my family's past, or risk losing the truth forever? Charleston's dawn broke softly, the Spoleto Festival's final notes fading as Ellen's voicemail echoed in my mind. Her demand to meet alone carried a weight that lingered, but Caleb's quiet insistence on joining me anchored my resolve. Respect for Mom and Dad, though battered, held me to a promise of closure, not vengeance. Driving to the motel, the city's cobblestone charm felt like a gentle embrace, urging peace after the storm. Ellen's truth, and my own, deserved to be faced, not in anger, but with the dignity I'd fought to reclaim. At the motel, Ellen waited, a woman worn by years, yet her eyes mirrored mine, fierce and unbroken. Alone, as she'd asked, my voice steady, I asked why she'd stayed hidden. Her story spilled. Banished after threatening to expose Dad's fraud, she'd watched Charlotte from afar, too broken to fight. My wedding revelation had drawn her back, not for revenge, but to see her daughter. Tears fell as she spoke of loss, her hand trembling over a locket with Charlotte's photo. Offering her a chance to reconnect, if Charlotte allowed it, felt like healing a wound I hadn't caused. Her grateful nod was enough. Returning to my classroom, students' artwork bloomed on the walls, a testament to the life I'd built. Opening a community art center became my focus, a dream funded by the wedding money I'd reclaimed. Parents and locals rallied, their support a chorus of affirmation that drowned out my family's past scorn. Mom sent a letter, apologizing, promising change. Dad's signature joined hers, a tentative step. Responding with a simple note, time will tell, left the door ajar, but my heart no longer waited for their approval. Charleston's warmth, its people, had become my family. Caleb's presence grew steadier, our bond deepening through shared silences and laughter. One evening, painting the art center's walls, his brush paused, his gaze soft. "You've always been enough," he said, his words a vow. Kissing him under the half-painted mural, love unfolded, not as a dream, but as a truth rooted in mutual respect. His strength, never demanding I change, mirrored the heroines I admired, women who found joy by choosing themselves. Our future, unwritten, shimmered with possibility. The art center's opening, timed with the festival's close, drew a crowd. Students, neighbors, even Ellen, who'd begun mending ties with Charlotte. Standing before them, my voice carried not pain, but pride. "This is for every dreamer who felt unseen." Applause rose, a tide of belonging that filled the hollows my family's lies had carved. Charlotte, absent, sent a hesitant text, hinting at regret. Forgiveness, I decided, would come on my terms, not theirs. Choice brought a quiet stillness, a peace I'd earned. Walking home under Charleston's starry sky, the weight of the past lifted. The locket Ellen gave me, now holding a sketch of my students, rested against my heart, a symbol of love chosen, not owed. Mom and Dad's journey, Charlotte's reckoning, lay beyond my control, but my path was clear. Teaching, creating, loving, these were my legacy. As festival lanterns dimmed, a final thought settled. I was no longer the shadow, but the light, and that was enough. Charleston's summer bloomed. The Lato Festival, a fading memory, but the Art Center stood as a vibrant testament to reclaimed strength. Morning light spilled through its windows, where children's laughter mingled with the scent of fresh paint. Teaching them to weave stories through color, the joy in their eyes mirrored a freedom hard won. Mom and Dad, whom respect still guided me to honor, had retreated into silence after their letter, their path to redemption unclear. Yet the community's embrace, parents volunteering, locals donating supplies, wove a new tapestry of belonging, one my family's lies could never unravel. Caleb's steady hand helped hang student artwork, his quiet humor a balm to lingering scars. Over coffee at a Charleston cafe, he shared dreams of opening a bookstore, his passion igniting a spark. Our love, rooted in shared triumphs, grew like the city's ancient oaks, unhurried, enduring. A moment stood out, him sketching a festival scene beside me, our silence a language of trust. His belief in my worth, never demanding I prove it, echoed the heroines who inspired me, women who carved their own paths. Together, we envisioned a future where art and stories healed others as they had us. News of the wedding scandal rippled online, Charleston's social media buzzing with support. A local blogger dubbed me the artist who broke the silence, her words amplifying my truth. Charlotte, humbled by Ellen's return, began therapy, her texts tentative but sincere. Responding with cautious kindness, forgiveness felt possible, but not rushed. My heart prioritized peace over obligation. Ellen, now a quiet presence, joined art classes, her sketches revealing a spirit mending. Her gratitude for my courage, expressed in a tearful hug, closed a circle of pain, proving truth could heal even the deepest wounds. The Art Center's first exhibition, a festival of its own, drew crowds. Students beamed as their paintings glowed under string lights, neighbors clapping with pride. Standing before them, my voice carried a message. Every unseen heart deserves to shine. A mother, eyes misty, shared how my story inspired her to confront her own family's neglect. Her words, echoed by others, revealed a ripple effect. My fight had sparked theirs. Charleston's cobblestone streets, once a backdrop to betrayal, now cradled a legacy of resilience, a community bound by shared courage. Reflecting under the center's mural, painted with Caleb's help, a locket from Ellen rested against my chest, holding a child's drawing. It symbolized love chosen, not owed, a reminder of the strength found in standing tall. Mom and Dad's absence at the exhibition stung faintly, but their journey was theirs to navigate. My path, lined with art and love, was enough. The stars above Charleston, bright as that first defiant night, whispered of new beginnings, each one a canvas for hope. To every woman reading this, know this: your worth isn't tied to those who overlook you. If family, friends, or society dim your light, step into your truth. Paint your story, bold and unapologetic, as I did. Start today. Write a letter, speak your heart, or create something that screams your value. You are enough, and your voice can change everything. Let it rise, and let Charleston stars guide you home.